What they do?
Hey, finally.
How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so good to see you.
Talking about breaking paradigms to go live, huh? I was trying to figure it out for the last 5 minutes how to set that up.
Listen. Look at this. Look at this. We got 12 people in here. What's up? What's up, y'all? Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live.
Welcome to the very first episode of The Way Showers Talk with Khadijah Toto and me, Joe Caller. Welcome, guys.
Yes. Oh, this is gonna be good. I'm excited about this.
This is going to be fun. We were having a couple of interesting conversations over the past week about interesting themes, so we decided that we're going to share it with our audience.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Hey, brother Leon.
Hey,
Brother Leon.
how do you work this?
How it work what?
I see it now.
Oh, you can see the comments. Yeah, they coming in. They about to be coming in for real.
As I mentioned before, I was not thinking about it to go live on this platform for the last 2 months, but thinking never got any results for anybody. So finally, I got a little friendly push from you. Thank you. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out how this platform works.
Hey, well, you got a hang of it. We got the guests. They waiting. What we talking about today, Joe? What we talking about?
I'd really love to connect to that post that you made about the self-hypnosis. Do you
Oh,
remember what was in it? Because
yeah.
that was an interesting conversation.
I'm not gonna lie. I made it so long ago. Can you remind me? What did it say?
I don't know how to open TikTok on computer, but there was a conversation that we are stuck in a self-hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little elaboration in the chat. What does it really mean? Well, what does it really mean? When you wake up in the morning, what are you saying to yourself? What are you doing right away after waking up? You're doing same things over and over every single day.
Mm-hmm.
That's called routines. But that as well is self-hypnosis because you're just going without thinking. You're not changing anything in your day. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, half asleep, you're making coffee, then half asleep, you're preparing breakfast for your kids, half asleep, you're driving back to a lovely work where you don't really want to go. And day by day by day, you just found out, or you will find out a couple of years later that you are living in a loop. That's what is called self-hypnosis. Nobody told us to do it.
Come on.
The system is set this way, but they're not forcing us to do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, when we see someone that does things differently, we think they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really? Are they?
Is
Are they? Because
is it them that's crazy, or is it us being stuck in the same routine and they broke?
that's the question. That's the question. Hey, Sabrina. Nice to see you. Another friend of ours.
Sabrina's here? I can't see it.
Yeah.
Mine stopped. Hey, girl.
I just tried something new. I waved Sabrina, so I hope I didn't turn off anything.
No, you did that right. You did that right. You can see it because this is your live. This is your live. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's get back to that. Isn't it interesting that most people, most of us, because we're no different than anybody else,
Right.
lives in the same loop all their life,
Absolutely.
waiting for retirement that some fairy is going to come down from clouds and say, woof, here's your 401k, woof, here's your 1 million. You can now start living your free life. What a lot of self-hypnotization there. Why not do it now?
Yeah. Well, let's break down something real quick. What is hypnosis first? And then what's the difference between hypnosis in general and then self-hypnosis?
95% how we function and how we run our lives is through our subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that is getting programmed by routines that we are setting for ourselves. You have heard, probably many people have heard many times, that it takes 21 days to create a habit, right? After you still keep repeating that habit, it's going to become your routine.
Right.
Let's take an example, driving. When you went for your first class in a driving school, You didn't know what to do, where to look. There were so many things to do.
Absolutely.
But after a month, after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, after 5 years, now you can use, I know we shouldn't, but you can use a phone in the car, you can smoke in the car, you can eat in the car, you can take care of kids in the car, you can play the music, and you can do all sorts of things. That's because your new routine became subconscious behavior. You're operating without thinking. It's automatic. It's the same as computer program.
So anything that's on automatic, just for people who follow,
It's a subconscious behavior.
anything on automatic is a subconscious behavior.
Yes. And if you want to change results that you're getting in your life that you don't like at the moment, you have to change the subconscious program. Now, there are two ways how you can change it. Either through routine or emotional impact. Now, unfortunately, most of the emotional impacts are negative, but they can result into positive outcome.
I love that.
The more common way is through repeated behavior, repetition. It's the same thing as when you start with fitness or going to gym. The first day is the hardest of them all. And then it becomes easier and easier and easier because it becomes your habit.
Yeah. And even having that habit, you talked about routine and emotional impact. So like, I just want to expand on like the difference between that. Routine is going to be that thing that you do over and over that forms. Hey, Belize. Hey, Natasha, is the thing that that you're doing over and over on automatic, right? It's the subconscious programming. And the emotional impact is that big thing that happens in your life where maybe you couldn't get in routine to that habit, right? So let's say you were supposed to be on this fitness routine, right? And your routine was you didn't have no fitness routine. That was your routine.
Yeah. Let's name it with a proper name.
Yeah, you didn't have no routine. You were eating burgers and fries and hot dogs and all that stuff every single day. You're gaining weight. You're on a constant whatever. You're not moving around. You're not doing activity, right? So you're in the routine of not having a good fitness routine. Now, emotional impact is going to be somebody about to have a heart attack. Somebody got diagnosed. Somebody got diagnosed with high blood pressure. And then when you got diagnosed with that thing, you like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. Or, oh my gosh, something happened. Yes. Now I need to start exercising. Now I need to start eating right. Now I can't fit my pants no more. That's emotional impact.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a perfect example because most of us, again, we are not different than anybody else who might watch this now or in the future. What we do is we have wishful thinking. I wish I had more muscles. I wish I had less weight. I wish I'd had a healthier lifestyle. But nobody's going to do it for us.
Yeah.
We have to remember every single person is an individual on this planet. The results you're getting are 100% your responsibility and your responsibility only. If you don't like something, you can change it.
Yep.
Not every single thing is as easy as another one, but everything is possible to change. How do I know that? Well, if you have a so-called role model, right? I'd like to look like him or her. I would like to have a lifestyle like that man or that woman. That means that that's possible. Because if it's possible for him or her, it's possible for me or for you.
Oh, I want to emphasize something real quick. So today I was on this kind of like, I don't know, I've been doing this fitness journey. I've been losing weight. I don't know how much weight I lost because I refused to get on a scale.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Releasing weight, because what you lose.
Look, y'all see that? Releasing weight, right? So I released all this weight. I don't know how much was released, but I know my pants was released too because I can't almost fit nothing in this closet. So I'm looking at different surgeries, right? So like the weight loss surgeries because you get the loose skin. And so as I'm on this doctor's website of like him showing different results that he has, he's showing these pictures of basically they do liposuction. And so I was like, damn, that would be the easy way out because I could just get that physical, whatever. But it's not about that. It's about the routine and the habit, right? Because even if I got the liposuction, I got those bad habits and routine, that liposuction don't mean nothing because they're going to be suctioning another lipo in a few months. So I'm looking at the before and I recognize that for so long, I have been so mean to myself about my body because what happens is we're so used to seeing other people's final result that we don't see the process. We don't see where they started off as, right? Or we don't even see the maintenance of what it takes to keep that ideal body that we're looking for. So I'm seeing fat in areas on these people's body that I think that they're perfect. I'm seeing areas in fat and I'm like, I got that same fat joint right there. Oh my gosh, so that's normal, right? So I think it's important to understand the reality of things, like to understand like we're not different. Like we're not
Yep.
even we teaching this right now because we learned it, but also because we experienced it and we're sharing our awareness of it. Okay. This doesn't mean that we're superior to anybody. This doesn't mean
Yep.
that not applicable to us at all. This means that, we sharing the experiences with y'all. So like, even like looking at that, I felt some type of way about myself. And it was like, yo, I want to, but it motivated me too, because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to lose all this weight. So that way I can then get the surgery because
Release.
release weight before, because what happened was I got all this loose skin, right? So let's go into self-hypnosis, negative talk, self-hypnosis.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I got all this loose skin.
Mm-hmm.
The loose skin made me more insecure than my original weight. And it was like, okay, do I go back to my original weight or do I walk around with this loose skin? And so for me, I was like, I'm going back to my original weight because it won't doing all that. But then it's like you get back on those bad habits. So how do you get yourself out of that negative self-hypnosis, aka negative self-talk?
Discipline. And
Mm,
you have to strengthen your mind. You have to develop your mind. If you'll keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting results that you're getting. This is what we've been hearing for years and decades from coaches that have started way, way before us. But I have made some memos while you were talking. First of the memo is no shortcut to success. You can't just sky jump from where you are to your destined destination without work. Now, okay, there are quantum leap or quantum jumps, but that's for a different discussion. What you were talking about later on in there was self-image, when you were saying, okay, but I see different thing. Now, this is on a board with word that I don't really like, which is called imposter syndrome,
mm,
right? I'm here. I see myself as I am in the mirror, but I know that my desired outcome is there.
right.
Every single time in your life, if when you will try to reach something or do something or gain something that you don't have, you will have imposter syndrome because you're looking at something that you're not. And you need to persuade your subconscious mind that this is me in the future. But you have to become it in the present moment for your subconscious mind to bring it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way it works. Vibration, attraction, energy.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick any example from your past or anybody watching this, when you had a dream as a child or when you were in a school or when you were starting your first job, anything that was your desire, your goal that you knew you would have,
Mm-hmm.
you were in the same spot. You were in the imposter spot because you were not the person that you were imagining to be.
Mm-hmm.
But by routine, by setting new habits, you became that person. You gained that material thing, be it money, car, or even person, relationship, whatever. And the perfect example are relationships.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going for that ideal partner, you are idealizing yourself from front of another person to be the best version of you,
Yes.
even though it's not a true, but you know that that ideal version will attract your desired person. That's imposter syndrome too. But when you keep on working on that, you will become that.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to keep on working. You have to keep on putting effort and creating new habits.
Yeah. What do you?
From neuropsychological point of view, it's creating new neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
And until them two will connect and create a new bridge, which will then become a habit, it takes time.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And how do you, okay, how do you stay motivated in the process of change? Because there is, it gets hard, right? It gets
Yeah.
hard. It gets difficult. You say, I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this. I don't even, you know what? Like you see it in partnerships all the time, even in relationships, right? This relationship get marriages too. This relationship getting too hard. I don't want to do it anymore. You always have one party that's willing to work on it and the other party ready to go, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it was both parties willing to work on it. But it's like, it's still difficult for both of you, right? It's still difficult. So how, through self-hypnosis, do we tread through that tough road? Lisette said it does get hard. So like, how do we tread through that?
Let's take the word motivation first, because it's a word that has been used for the last 60 years. And I believe that so many people misunderstand that word. What is motivation? If you split that word into two, it's motive for action. Motive, action, right? Desire, the burning desire that Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. If you have burning desire for something that you want to get and reach, that should be dragging you out of your bed every single morning to follow your new set routine. If it doesn't, it's a wrong motive.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be pushing yourself into doing anything. Yes, you have to go through pain. Yes, you have to go through setting new habits, but the right goal, the right desire has to be there. Let's go back to relationships. When there is attractive, I'm going to put it from my perspective, right? When there is attractive woman that I have made a decision. What?
Oh, I was saying hi to the audience, Cody, my best friend.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I have made a committed decision that that woman will be my partner.
Mm-hmm.
I will do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's my burning desire. Now, I don't know yet what everything it takes to get there,
Right.
but I have made committed decision that I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
I will discover it on the way, because I don't know what she likes. I don't know whether she's a sports girl, whether she wants to go for hiking, whether she likes ocean. I have no idea. I just know I like her, and I am willing to do whatever it takes. I'll rebridge this conversation to the marriage and the relationship that you mentioned. At the beginning of the relationship, what are you willing to do for a relationship?
Are you asking me, or is this?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would do whatever it takes if I want the relationship.
Yeah.
If it's a relationship I desire, I'll do whatever it takes.
Okay. So we'll put down 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
It should be the same from the other part or the other half of the full relationship. Why does people say that relationship has to be 50-50? That's just a rhetorical question, right? You don't have to answer. But this is the common thing that is going on in relationships. Relationship has to be 50-50. But if we'll add up 50-50, it adds up only to 100%.
Right.
But you have two people in the relationship.
Right.
So the total should be 200%. And when people get comfortable in a relationship, they stop doing everything for the other person.
Yeah.
They start looking at their own comfort zone. And that's, I believe, from my life experience, which I believe I have enough of them, that's where the percentage starts decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
Another big one is conversation. If people don't talk, they can't talk out things that are not important at the beginning, but by not talking about them, they will grow into big bubbles that when they burst, there's a fire on the roof
Mm-hmm.
and no one knows what's going on.
Yeah.
That's just layers of not talking.
Mm. So how do
Bob
you
Proctor.
navigate through that emotional? Because that's like it's a. I think now it's just my personal opinion. I think the treading gets tough when we're talking about dealing with other people, right?
Mhm.
Relationship. This could be business. This could be
Yeah,
romantic. This could
any
be
relationship. Yeah.
friendship, right? Anything. The treading gets tough when emotions, those negative emotions, get involved. When that
Mhm.
doubt comes in, right? Because that's when my partner's 100, but now I'm 30%. My self confidence
Mhm.
down, my desires have decreased. I'm now looking at this person, they ain't changed. I have, but I'm looking at them like they changed, right? But it's really me.
Mhm.
I'm 30%, they're on 100. How do I get that 70% back?
I believe this is purely my perspective on it, right?
Mhm.
Again, number one is conversations. None of us is 100% every single day. That's
Mhm.
why you that's why you have two 100s in a relationship.
Right.
So when one side is lowered, there's the other one to support it and hold it to the degree when the first person is able to get back up. But when there's no conversation, things are only building up, and the part that is 100% have no idea what's going on. That's usually where people start creating scenarios.
Mm. Come on, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. That's that self-hypnosis movie going on.
Yeah. But we are bridging as well into emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of topics in here, but we're going freestyle. This is the first episode. We are allowed to.
It's your show.
Emotional intelligence. I've done podcast about it for I'd say a year ago. It doesn't matter. Uh, when people stop reacting to situation, any situation. Now, we're not picking any specific relationship. It could be, as you said, business or partnership, or with your children or with your family, which is usually way worse in the relationships with your family than with your spouse. We have an option in any situation to take one step back, not put our emotions into it because the situation only is. It's neither good or bad. It will be what kind of emotion we are going to put into the situation or conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have one memo here from Adam's Family. Do you remember Morticia Adams? Do you remember that old movie?
Mm-mm.
Adam's Family?
Oh yeah.
It's really
Uh,
Adam's Family. There we go. Morticia Adams said something very interesting. What is normal for spider, it's chaos for the fly.
right. Right.
So why should the situation be good or bad? In the universe, there's nothing good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
Universe works by laws, and we have to learn the universal laws to function in here
Absolutely.
by putting our emotion into a situation. We are deciding what kind of situation is going to be. Now, I'll give you an example. I have 10 years of age daughter, 10 years old daughter. Yeah. My first language is not English, so I'm trying to catch up sometimes, only sometimes.
Listen, what know that if you ain't tell it?
But I have a question. What do you do when you're out with your child? The child is playing, let's say is riding a bike. She or him will fall off the bike and bruise his or her knee. The child is crying, is in stress, and is looking for what? Is looking for support and for care.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can paint out two scenarios.
Yeah.
One will start screaming and yelling at the child. What did you do? Why did you go so fast? I told you you're going to fall. Now, that's exactly the reason why the child fell. in most cases because you told him to. You programmed his subconscious mind with it. The other scenario is keep your shit cool. Be there as a support for the child. The child is in a stressful situation. The child is looking for support and care. Child is not looking for screaming and hatred and telling what he's done. He knows or she knows what he or she have done wrong. These two are two different scenarios. This is how you can pick what kind of emotions and energy you're going to bring into situation.
Absolutely. Now, when
Right.
that...
Sorry, I'm just reading one comment. So many problems with people because of language barriers. So many people don't understand verbiage in the English language. Okay, I'm trying my best. I can fairly say that I speak since 2005, so I can only do my best.
No, they not. They talking about something else. That don't got nothing to do with you.
Okay, let's go back to that situation. I just created out from my personal experience, right? Because I have a child. But we can have thousands of situations like that. And it's purely up to us how we are going to go about the situation. A, you're going to react with harsh negative energy, which is going to make things only worse. Mm-hmm. There's no good outcome for anybody. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to take a step back, reevaluate the situation. No one died. No one killed anybody. Nothing drastic happened. It's just a bruise and the body will heal. So let's be a mature person and be there as support.
Now pause. I want to stop you right there. We're in the middle of making that decision. Now we're battling two things right now. This is where the real battle is. Let's get into it. The real battle is in that split second, right? Because you only have seconds to choose which version of you you're about to...
You have 2 seconds.
Because the reaction is, I told you quit speeding, right? That's the reaction. The response is, hey baby, you all right? No, it's fine, it's okay, right? Now in that moment, let's say you're raging, you don't have no patience today, you really didn't really want to take the child outside in the first place, but you know you needed to. It didn't have nothing to do with the child, it had everything to be how you felt, right? How do you make that decision in that split second of I gotta empower this child in this moment and understand what they're going to put their needs first versus my reaction, put my reaction first? How do you make that decision in that split second?
It's not going to happen overnight, but it's a skill as any other that you can learn. I have learned it. Anybody else can. You breathe. You take in one deep breath through your nose. Breathe. You're going to allow your brain, your mind, your whole structure to respond, not to react. Everybody will experience it in his or her own way, but you have to try it first. You have to start practicing first. I see what's behind this question that you gave me, right?
Keep going.
Okay. I keep getting distracted by the comment, but that's okay. You know the outcome of similar situation when you were harsh and you reacted, right?
Right.
Do you want the same outcome?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, then you have to change something.
Right.
And what you can change is your emotional intelligence, which is way more important than your IQ. Your intelligence has nothing to do with it. Your emotions are running your life.
Right.
How do I know that? Look at the setup of people in this world. Does it mean that only smart people are living good life? No. Emotionally stable people. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to have a degree for that. You have to stop reacting and start responding.
I love that. And it's being aware to do that, right? Yeah. Because I think so often, you know, we do respond on that automatic or understanding Yo, I'm at 0 right now, you know, but I can't treat this other person who has nothing to do with my 0 right now, or even
Mhm.
my 2% that I can give in this right now.
Mhm.
I know that it's almost like being selfless, but also
Mhm.
understanding, because I think what's happening is we got a bunch of people who are on 20%.
Mhm.
But they talk right, but in their fantasy, I'm 100%. But the reality is, it's 20%. We working on that 100%. So we're all working on ourselves. And I think that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing to understand. Is like, I'm gonna tell you, even right now, today I was on absolute 0. Today I was on absolute 0. I was crying for like maybe 6 or 7 hours today. I was feeling emotional. I was like, is it a full moon outside? Is it a new moon? What in the world's going on? Like, I wanted to quit everything. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to I wanted to just leave. I didn't want to be here. And you can interpret that in however whichever way you want to. But sometimes it's important to have that person who is on 100 or even any percentage higher at that point and reach out, right? Reach out. Watch that self-help video. Go to Joe's page and get one of them videos. Come, like, you have to reach out, and whether your reach out is through the media or your reach out is through a person, because not everybody has friends, right? Some people don't have that support system. Some people don't have those people that gather around them when they some people could die tomorrow and nobody even know. But it's important that you reach out for that movement and action, so you can move out of that reaction and come into that response.
Absolutely. You have to do the action step first. You have to. My life story came to me when you were talking about not having nobody else. We are product of our environment. If there's no one in our environment, we have to be the one who will get up or lift our ass from the chair and start looking for it. When I was at my life's very lowest low, which is many years ago, Les Brown was the only person who I found. YouTube was only starting then.
Mm-hmm.
But I found someone. When you're asking God, angels, universe, holy guardian angels, whatever you believe, help will come, but you have to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's even written in the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ask and you shall receive.
Yep. Asking is
Yeah.
given. I'll find
Yeah.
that will be answered. But that knocking, you talking about the knocking. Everybody think the door just opened. No, you gotta knock. Say that you there. Hey, open this mug up.
Yeah. And if the door is not opening, kick them door out of the hinges.
Mm-hmm.
The support is there. At this stage in 2022, the whole world is on internet. Information are coming in free form as well. You don't have to pay for everything,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be the one that is going to make the first step, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. I know when you're down in the sinkhole, when everything seems dark and you don't see way out, all you need to focus is only on one step and one day. Forget about the picture, what's going to be in 1 year. One day, one step, one in front of the other. Uh, you know this famous saying that you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step, right? Where did this came from? How do you think this saying come to life? That person must have gone through the situation that made up this statement, right? No one is having easier or harder. Everyone is having his own portion, and it's up to us not being ignorant to the knowledge available to us. Look for it, develop our box that we have in here
Mm-hmm.
so we can do better in life.
Mm-hmm. And everybody, and I want to add to this too, is like in seeking of doing better in life, y'all don't think that everybody glorifies this self-help thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody glorifies this self-development. Oh, you got to believe in this and believe. Look, listen, the journey is tough. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't think that it's about to be, oh, because I feel like sometimes there's an oversaturation of, oh, it's lilies and flowers, and it gets there, but before you get to the lilies and flowers, you got to plant that seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plant any seed. I don't now, maybe unless you're doing some type of water growing, every seed is planted in the dark,
In the dirt.
in the dirt,
Yeah.
okay, in the
Yeah.
ground. So what makes you think you any different? You might
No.
be, you are the seed, this star seed. Everybody talking about star seeds and all that stuff. You are the star seed. So let's say you are the star seed. You think you're not finna be planted in the dark? And last time I checked, I don't know what kind of stars you look at, but the sky look real dark.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you shine amongst the darkness?
You keep on working. You keep on going. That's exactly what I said. One foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
When I mentioned Les Brown, which is a very dear friend of mine, my mentor, that I can honestly say, and I told him as well when we were speaking many times, when he saved my life, I had no one, just him. I had no food. I had nowhere to live. I had no support. I couldn't see my child that was Linda was 18 or 19 months old at the time. And I was thousands of kilometers away from home. I was in a different country. All I had was garden, front of the house where I was still living, my last rent, right? So I had about a week or two to still go on. I had no food. So what did I do? I took on my earphones. I took on my phone. I got some music that I could, and I kept walking around the garden, around. Nature does miracles.
Mm.
I don't care if it's sea or forests or any nature that you have around you, your natural surrounding. That will. You have to change the vibration, and if you don't see it, you have to create it. There's always something that you can hook yourself onto.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that. You have to hook up onto it
Yeah,
because whatever it reminds me of Outwitting the Devil.
yeah,
And Napoleon Hill talks about how when the devil, right, has and when we say devil in this, it's about the vibration, okay? So either
mhm,
you're in this low vibration, there's two forces. You're being pulled towards the higher feeling, or you're being pulled towards the lower feeling. Now in this situation, what I'm talking about right now, we're talking about the energetic force that's pulling you away from your bliss, pulling you away from your happiness. So when I say devil, that's what I mean, okay?
yeah,
So there's this part where, the devil wants to keep you in that lower vibration, that lower trance. And he's going to keep taunting you and keep taunting you and keep taunting you. And yeah, you're going to be tried and tested. And during that trying and that testing, it's the difference between being in bondage and being free.
absolutely. That's where you get to practice one of your higher mental faculties, which is will.
Mm.
Do you really want to get out of that situation or not? Do you? Show me. If your will is strong enough, you'll get out.
Mm.
Because the tools and the ways will be shown to you, but nobody's gonna walk your walk for you. You have to do it by yourself.
Woo.
When you're teaching your child how to walk, you can't do it for him.
Right.
You're there as a support.
Mm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this world of self-development is tough. If somebody thinks that you're gonna get yourself a program or a book, you're gonna read it once and woohoo! I'm a superstar. I know everything. That's not the way it works. No, that's not the way it works.
And it seems like the more you know, the worse the test gets.
The more you know, the more you realize how nothing you know.
You don't know nothing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, these tests come and you like, now I know I'm being pulled. I know that I'm in the vibration of not the devil outwitting me right now. And it's like, okay, how in the world because this is an oxymoron right now. You know, how in the world do I get myself out of this? How do I pull myself out of this vibration? I don't want to be here. I don't want to, like, I'm crying in the middle of the night. Can't nobody see it. Can't nobody, everybody's sleeping. Don't nobody want to answer. I don't even want to bother nobody. How do I get out of this?
I'll give you a hint. Do you see what's in there? That's my bookshelf.
I see it. Them real books.
No, it's a prompt. What do you think?
No.
Of course they're real books.
I'm messing with you, Joe.
No, I have them only as a decoration.
You know what? You ever been to them show houses? Those are nice.
What I'm saying with that is every single book like this, for example, Psycho-Cybernetics, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person who wrote a book, it doesn't matter if it's this or from Neville or from Bob or from whoever, I believe he put his best into the book for generations that will come to be able to help themselves and enjoy what he went through, the outcome out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or another great book is from Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Power Subconscious Mind?
Yes, I'm playing in between language. Yeah, Power of the Subconscious Mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you pick few books, now I know that these days there's a million coaches and people are recommending trillions of books. You can't be sitting on 5 chairs at the same time. You can't be watching 4 television shows at the same time. You have to pick which is closest to you. How do you do that? Now, you pick what you want to gain or accomplish that you haven't done yet before, and you pick few that are recommended to you. When you get a book into your hand and you start reading somewhere, if the book pulls you in, you know it's the one. And then you should repeating the reading until you get the message. We've been taught by our mentor Bob Proctor to read Think and Grow Rich over and over and over. Why do we think Bob has read his book for 60 years?
Right.
Right until the last day when he passed. He had that book. Because the knowledge in those books, self-help books, is coming from a different mind. And for us to connect to the mind that wrote the book, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But all the knowledge is in there. There's no secret. But what's the secret of having big bulk body with a lot of muscles?
Mm-hmm.
Hard work, repetition, doing what works. That means asking someone that have done already what you are planning to do. Following the lead. Following someone who went through the process. This is what coaching is all about. In coaching, we can give you 95% awareness. The rest of the work is up to you. If you're going to do it, it's going to work. If you're not going to put work and effort into it, it's not going to work. That's it.
Right.
And back to the thing that we were saying that people think that self-development industry is easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. I would compare it to a coal mine. I honestly will. Because you're going every single day into the dark area, into underground of your subconscious mind, digging out programs that were installed there for the previous 20, 30, 40 years of your life, and you're changing them. And it's messy work. And how many people around you are going to like you? That's where your strong will is coming to place. That's where you get tested, as the Bible is saying. If you're sure that you want what you said that you want, are you? Well, then show me. Do the work. If you'll do the work, the reward is inevitable.
That's real.
When you're starting to drive a car, you know, because your instructor is telling you, if you'll keep practicing, you will get better. You will get better. You'll eventually will. It's just a matter of time. But no one is going to tell you it's going to take only 10 or 20 or 30 days, because only you know how big your goal or desire is.
Right, right.
We know how long it takes for carrot to grow out from one seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no one knows how long is your dream going to take because it's your dream. No one has planted it before.
And nobody
You have to find out.
and nobody can see what you can see in the detail that you can see it in.
Yes, that's why the dream or the goal was given to you in your imagination, because it's yours for you to do, for
Mm-hmm.
nobody else. And if nobody else doesn't believe in your dream, that's the way it should be. It's
Right.
not their dream. It's not their dream. It's your dream.
Right.
Look at the most successful people in the world. Do you think that they didn't have haters, naysayers, doubters? Of course they did. But they weren't listening to them. In my world, if you will support me,
We
I
call
will really appreciate it.
them are
We're
called
going to what?
haters. Those are called haters.
Yeah, we can call them whatever way we like. They're going to get from universe what they deserve, because what you give out into the universe, you're going to receive back. Some people call it karma. It's just another law of universe. What you give, you're going to receive eventually.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Everyone has her strength, and I've been through hell and back. And I'm glad you're here, Josephine. That's showing your strength, because you're still here. You have still woken up this morning. That means you have still work to do. And some parts of your hell you overcame so you can be support for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Talk about that. I want to tell a quick story real quick on that.
Yeah.
It reminds me of TD Jakes and Sarah Jakes. So TD
Oh, I
Jakes
love him.
is
I love him.
for some who don't know, he's a bishop, and he had his daughter called Sarah. Well, you know, a bishop in a church, a mega church at that, a mega church meaning a huge church with like thousands of people that attend each week, okay? Now, his daughter gets pregnant in her teenage years. And I'm not talking about 15, 16. I'm talking about younger. So her getting pregnant in her teenage years, it was, in seeing he preaches the kind of word, it could be embarrassing, right? And there were times of frustration. They talk about this. But Sarah, he just passed the baton to her. She became an amazing preacher. And to watch even her growth and giving her testimony at his church about her pregnancy and the things. So that's kind of like, oh, well, how could the preacher, he over here preaching this sermon, he need to be preaching that to his own family while he over here trying to teach us. But see, that's the beautiful thing, is it's those lessons that you given, those lessons that you really pushing towards. It can be, you can be in a situation where everything around you contradicts that. But guess what? Those people that are even following you and all that stuff, like, you know, it can seem wrong. But guess what? Look at who she is today. So sometimes we go through these hells so you can share that story and you can help somebody else get through it. Because at the end of the day, we all get the hellfire different. We all gonna catch the fire. That's part of it. That's law of polarity. If you're gonna get the light, you're gonna get the fire. Because a lot of people forget, you put a magnifying glass up to the sun and you focus it on a piece of paper, that piece of paper about to catch on fire. So at the end of the day, it's like, what are you magnifying? Because is it something that's producing fire, or is it something that's producing light? Because we get to, the weird part is that we get to choose, but we choose to stay in a trance that we don't like.
You get to choose on which part on the situation you are going to focus on.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be focused on the problem or on the lesson and the solution? What do you want to pass on as information to somebody? Just something that you read in a book?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not passing on many informations from the book to people that I coach or teach. I'll recommend the book. But when they come to me with a certain question or a problem in their life, I'm speaking from my life examples that I overcame. This is what I believe mentoring is about. Because mentoring and coaching is meant to save you years because you don't have to go through every single hell in your life that you have on your journey with the support from somebody else.
Absolutely.
This is what parenting is as well.
Mm-hmm.
When we are raising our children, now I've been in that position where I was a father that was trying to avoid every bad situation happening to my daughter, every single one of them. But then one of my coaches and mentors was saying, either in video or in training course that I paid for as a student, what's going to happen when you'll be gone?
Mm-hmm.
How is that person going to be able to function on her own?
Mm-hmm.
What about her own experiences?
Mm-hmm.
There's no bubble wrap in this world. She has to find out herself what is good and what isn't. You can be there only as the support.
Mm-hmm. And what you see as being selfless is actually you being selfish to their experience.
Yes, absolutely. The moment, Khadijah, when I figured this out, my whole internal world fell apart. Because when you're going through a hard situation in your life, you're trying to grasp at something that will give you meaning to go on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're doing that on autopilot, in self-hypnosis, you're not seeing that you're doing more damage than you're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, not damage now, but damage for the future self of the child, as we speak about at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So how do you let go? How do you now? I don't have a child. I do have a niece, and I know for me, I worked around children.
Yeah. So you know the principle.
So it's like, no, let him fall. Oh my gosh, I don't want to watch this, right? But you still have to
you listen how other people have done it. Mm-hmm. This particular coach from Australia, he have a son as well. So he's passing his own experiences. This is what I'm doing as well. This is what I'm giving to whoever is watching. What I learned from someone else that I related to, and I found that is working. And relationship with my daughter has become better. Mm-hmm. She's becoming a stronger person on her own. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't I pass this information as well? Mm-hmm. Again, the same principle. When you're going to the gym, you're listening your trainer because he knows how to train.
Right.
If you are a beginner, you just know the outcome, what you want. After a while, when you learn the process, you know the process. But you still have a coach. You still have a trainer. Mm-hmm. You see, when we speak about coach or trainer in a gym, it's something that he does every single day. Every single day, he's training people to become better or more. Mm-hmm. That's what he's focusing on. But when you're coming into self-development only for an hour a day or 2 hours, 2 hours a day, that's a very low percentage of your focus on it. Mm-hmm. That's why you need accountability partner. That's why you need someone who you're going to be responsible to. Why responsible to? Because we as humans will always do more for somebody else than for our own self. Oh, sure, I'm good. I'm okay. I don't care. I'm okay. But when you commit, you'll make sure that you're going to be up at 6 a.m. and ready on your way to the gym, or doing your morning routines, or reading the book that you know that is going to help you. You just didn't develop the habit yet. Mm-hmm. That's why coaches and mentors are here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why do you think there's a saying, coaches don't play? Because they played before. Now they have experience that they can pass on to you, but the coaches have their own higher level of a training. Mm-hmm. What I mean by saying higher, we are in a game a little bit longer than someone that is just starting, right? There's no difference between you and me or someone that's just starting. Mm-hmm. We are just earlier in the process. Mm-hmm. So what we are learning ourselves at the moment, we are doing for our own good. And because we can later on pass that information on to you when you decide to come to our level of awareness or knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And it's easy to look over at the other person and to be like, yeah, but you got a better starting than what I got, or da 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 da
How
da.
do you know?
But
How
it's
do you know?
exactly,
Nobody knows.
but
Nobody. That's
it's like,
prejudging.
yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because guess what? You have two people with the same things, and if they could have started all the way up there, but guess what? Through you putting in that effort, that work, that those routines, following up on that, reading those books, doing those tasks that you know you're supposed to be doing, by being coached, you're gonna run circles around it. And I don't even say you're gonna run circles around them, you're gonna pass them before you even realize it, because you so busy focusing on where they are and where they started that you're not focusing on where you going.
I'll give you a great example that just came to my head. You remember the movie Secret?
Mm-hmm.
It came out in 2007, approximately. I was living in Ireland at the time. I was working for Canadian American insurance company. W. Clement Stone found that company, right? The first most successful student of Napoleon Hill. I knew nothing about this at that stage. When I saw Secret, I loved it. I loved Lisa Nichols to my bones. I loved it.
Mm.
The only person who I couldn't relate to was Bob Proctor. I was so ignorant, which I didn't realize at the time. I was so ignorant to the man that devoted his life into this. I'm actually working for his company now. Right?
That's why I
For,
made that face. Like,
for, for 14 years, I was ignorant to the information that he was sharing with the world.
mm-hmm.
This is what's the difference between someone that is earlier in the process, because he understood,
Yep.
he got in, he got his hands and feet dirty in groundwork,
Mm-hmm.
and someone else who didn't. There's no other difference.
Yeah.
You got the information now. The only thing that we have is now. So now you can take the information and develop out of yourself the maximum potential that you can. For who? For you. For nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it for your mama. Don't do it for your wife or for your kids. Do it for you.
And how do we put ourselves first? You know, especially when you're so used to. I believe Brene Brown talks about this. She talks about how there's the people who are used to being helped, and there's the people who are used to being the helper. And usually the person being helped doesn't mind asking for help because they're so used to everybody helping them, right? But the helper is usually the one that has a hard time asking for help because they're always the one that's serving that other person. So if we are in a position of being the helper, how do you think, or a few suggestions of how to navigate through that space of, okay, I'm used to being a helper, but now I'm the one that needs help. And I'm not used to asking for help. I'm used to doing the helping, right? So I would even say coaches go through this.
Oh, yeah.
Coaches, psychologists, all the people that are in these help services, especially with the mind. How do you then help yourself?
Just because of the title coach or mentor or teacher or preacher, it doesn't mean that we have something or anything easier than anybody else. Mm-hmm. It's just our pathway that we chose in our life. That's the only difference. Like, someone chose to be a doctor. Does it mean that he has it easier? Why? He doesn't have anything easier. And I can answer this question from perspective of option number 2 that you just mentioned, because I was and still am the person that always gives and helps. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to ask for help because I hypnotize myself into position that people are going to like me when I'll give everything that I have. Mm. That's not happening, baby. That's not happening because you can't give out from the empty jar. Mm. If the jar doesn't get refilled, you have nothing to pour out of. Mm. You know what's going to happen? You're going to burn. Mm-hmm. So you have to set boundaries. Yeah.
Ooh, boundary setting. Why, Joe? You need to set boundaries.
As the universal law is saying that what you'll give, you'll receive. Mm-hmm. When you're giving, You have to receive from somewhere, not necessarily from the same person, because when you're helping someone, you can't expect that that person is going to help you. No, you're sending out to the universe, but you have to allow other people to help you. More importantly, you have to ask for help. If you don't ask for help, people only see the outside shiny picture that you have these days on the social media. Oh, you're a rock star. You have no problems. You're
Yeah.
living in heaven. Everything is perfect.
Yeah.
Where in reality, you can't get up out of your bed for a week because you're human too. And you're going through shit as well. Everybody does. Everybody has. That's why support groups are very important. That's why mastermind groups are very important. This is why, for decades, there is a saying, environment is more important than heredity.
Yep.
When you have a flower in a pot and the flower doesn't bloom, what you going to do? Are you going to throw out the flower, or are you going to change its environment, its soil?
Yeah, you gotta change that soil.
Same with us. We're no different. So if you have no people around you or in your peers that are able to support you, start looking for some other groups. Do you think that anybody else from my surroundings is doing what I'm doing? No. Why do you think I'm posting and streaming and doing my coaching business on English speaking platforms? Because I don't have anybody around me in this part of the world that is thinking the same way as I am. To the extent, right? To the extent. I don't want to be wrong towards nobody. So I was looking for people, groups, and places where I can get the feeling, the information that I was looking for. That's how I found Les Brown. That's how I found John Tallarico. That's how I found Bob Proctor. That's how I found you and many, many other amazing people around the world. We are not limited by anything. I'm old enough to remember a landline in the house and no mobile phones. Even phone booths.
Yeah.
Now, if we fast forward to this age, you don't have to go anywhere. You just open your phone, the browser, and you're looking for people that can support you. Now, this is a really big disadvantage, more than advantage, right? Because most people don't look for help.
Yeah.
They think they need help, but they're not looking for it. They're not asking for it. Because in their subconscious mind, they have the information. Oh, it's just there. I can ask anytime. But do they really? No.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even know the kind of help you need.
Yes.
You know, you might think, I need X, Y, and Z. You know what? I'm gonna give you an example. I remember the first time that I had some anxiety solutions presented to me. And I didn't even know that I had anxiety until I ain't having no more. And I was like, whole time I thought, oh, I'm just nervous, or oh, I'm just, it's just the urgency. It always felt like an urgency. It felt like my anxiety would kick in, and it felt like something needed to be done, but it wasn't done, and I was panicking. It feels like, you know how when you're working on a school assignment or something, and due tomorrow and you ain't even got started, so you got to lock in and focus on that thing, but at the same time you're trying to rush and get it done, so you get it done. So like I was living life like that, and that feeling became normal. And it wasn't until I walked into the place to get this medicine that I was taught, oh yeah, this helps anxiety, this helps with this and that. And I was like, anxiety? I don't think I have anxiety. I'm good. But wait a minute, what does anxiety feel like? Well, it feels like It really helped. A lot of people come in here for anxiety. And I was like, well, if a lot of people are in here and I'm in here right now, I probably got it, don't know it. I did that. I'm telling y'all, that release of anxiety, that feeling that I did not even know was anxiety, was gone. And I was like, oh, this is what normal feels like. snap. But what ended up happening was, now that I understood what the grounding base was supposed to be, when that anxiety kicks in for me and I might not have my medicine on site, I know, okay, these are things I need to do to come back to the equilibrium, right? I didn't know what the equilibrium was because I had never been there before. And then once the equilibrium got presented, now I know how to ground myself. Now I know what that feels like, being grounded versus being all over the place. So sometimes we don't know the kind of help we need. So go out there anyways and just seek and explore things.
Talk to someone. So there's always some form of help that you can talk to. In schools, I believe you have counselors, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in a junior school a very long time ago, we had, it was called a school psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
She had her hours, and you could book appointment and talk about something that is weighing you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got advice.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can look on the internet, as you said, how you discovered. I'm not even going to my 3-4 letter alphabets things that I have discovered by about myself, about ADHD and all other things. How do you discover that you have it?
Yeah.
You hear someone talks about it,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, this is me. I didn't know that." So there's actually nothing wrong with me, right? But I have to address it. Even though I believe in medications, that's only curing symptoms.
Right.
You have to address the cause of it.
Mm-hmm.
And mindset development helps as well.
Mm-hmm.
As medications, right? Because when you're in a situation that you need instant release, yes, you need medication, right? But when your mind is clear, start digging and looking for what caused it.
Yeah. Go into it.
There's always emotions, unprocessed emotions in there. In 95%, you might not even realize that it's leading to your childhood.
Yep.
That's the most vulnerable place where our programs are created.
You going to the root.
I am, yes. And I'm going to be talking from my personal experience. When you are raised by ignorant people that know nothing about mindset, you're going to grow in that environment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when you grow older and you are able to look for the information that might help you, then it becomes your responsibility only to reprogram your subconscious mind, your habits, your routines. Unfortunately, what we see, and I'm guilty of it too, people usually blame their parents.
Yep.
They blame their kids.
It's so easy to blame them, to blame them for as far as they were able to go in order to raise you further than what they went.
Yeah. Then they blame teachers. Then they will blame bosses in the work. Then they will blame their partners. They'll blame every single person around them. But if you think that everybody else is responsible for your life and it's their psychological responsibility, just imagine how big mental hospital you would have to build to lock everybody else in there.
That's real.
There's no other way to start from yourself.
That's real.
I had a divorce. My frame of mind was that she was responsible for everything. My mother-in-law was responsible for everything. My mother was responsible for everything. Now, do you think that's true? No, it's not. Because when we started this talk, we were talking about putting 100% into relationship and 100% of the relationship. But there was a lot of ignorance. There was not enough talk. The balloon was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And when the balloon bursted, there was no way back. Because we didn't have information that we have now.
So I have a question.
I love I have to tell you one quote from Maya Angelou.
Mm.
When you know better, you do better.
Yes. May God be pleased with our sister. Yeah.
Big brother Clay, I am really glad to see you, and I'm looking forward to your book so I can order it.
Yeah.
Brother Clay.
Yes. I love. Okay, so now, but when you just said what you said, right? Now that you come into knowledge, right? How do you okay, so this might, I don't know what this is called. Maybe guilt. Maybe guilt. Maybe this is guilt.
Let's see.
So let's say you've grown, you've expanded, you understand what you did wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand what you did wrong now. And so you reach back, go back into your past, right? Because now it's like, oh snap, I'm so far ahead. Let me go back and take a look real quick at the things that I did, the mistakes that I made. And you kind of have this forgiveness thing going on, right?
You're bringing out very, very, very important subject now. You going back to your past. And I'll tell you why, and I apologize for interruption, but
No,
I lose my thought.
exactly. You caught on. You caught on the way.
You can go back in your mind to your past and recreate the story that you have created in your own mind and lived up till this point when you understood.
Absolutely.
Because nothing is as bad as it seems, and every single person is doing anything in their life from outlook for a higher good. They have a positive reason or positive outcome. It might not be identical with your, or when your two intentions will clash, it doesn't look positive.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that there are people in a relationship that they wake up in the morning. How am I going to piss him off today?
There might
That's
be.
not usually.
I think there
Yeah,
might
in sixties or seventies, out of fun. Yeah, I
be. Yeah.
get that because I'm a funny back too. But when we are talking about building a relationship,
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that people have positive intentions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just firing out wrong because they are running on subconscious behavior that they are not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's called subconscious.
Yeah.
It's not conscious.
Yeah. And sometimes that program that's running, it's not even you. It could be.
And not even your, because it could be program that you got as hereditary from your grandparents, great grandparents. Because what are we? We are two molecules, two atoms, one from mother, one from father. But there's a line of ancestors that it came from.
Yeah.
So it might not be your, but because you recognized it, it's your responsibility to deal with it so it doesn't pass it along to another generation.
And
It's hard work.
and
That's hard
that
work.
that's where when we talk about self-help not being easy, that's where it gets the
Yeah.
going gets tough. That's where when you really start getting into it, that's when you realize, damn, I don't know nothing. Because sometimes you could have an emotional response to something or even an emotional reaction to something, and that's not you. You could be I remember I was in a relationship, and in that relationship, I was having flashbacks to childhood traumas and moments that I
Mhm.
was like, whoa, wait a minute. And I had to stop in the middle of me flipping out. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Right now, this is not me. This is what I've been taught and how I've been taught to respond. This is not.
And that's what we call that. This is what we call conscious awareness.
Mm-hmm.
This right now.
Yeah, so the conscious awareness kicks in, right? And I'm like, wait a minute now. Whoa, I apologize. And having those moments are so important because it's when you recognize, oh my God, this isn't me. I've been taught this, but this is not right. I know this isn't right, but I also don't know what right is supposed to look like, but I know that this ain't it. So I have to apologize to my partner in this moment of acting and reacting in that way because they're now taking on certain things that's not even me. And to have a partner, right? To have a partner, I have a really good I've been blessed with some really good partnerships, but it's like that partner understanding right now this isn't her. I don't know who this is in this line or in this person, but this is not her. You know?
This is called dissociation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is part of emotional intelligence as well, to be able consciously do one step backwards and observe the situation and assess that this doesn't belong to me, or this is not her. This is something else going on. This is emotional support for the other person, because through the life we go through various different relationships. They create paradigms, which is subconscious programs. Unconsciously, you might trigger something like you were describing just now, but it will burst onto a person that has nothing to do with it. So this is why or what self-development is good for. It's like, you know, the Chinese paper dragon, the big one that they have on festivals?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that dragon is made out of little paper dragons that you're having out in autumn. And all the strings are, what you call that word when they're mixed up together?
They're tangled.
Yes, tangled.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to untangle one by one, one by one. So when you are recognizing these kind of programs, one by one, they need to be sorted. Why? Because you don't want them to repeat again.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them is enough to understand, accept, forgive yourself first for allowing that to happen, then forgive the other person who might have been in the situation, and then move on.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to process it.
Yeah.
Imagine you're going through your life with one big Santa bag, right? Bag like Santa Claus. You can put anything into it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're collecting bad experiences, bad emotions, bad habits, bad situations, bad people, and you keep pulling that all your life, but you're not releasing anything. How long do you think that you're going to be able to pull that bag?
Ooh, until you get that emotional impact and realize you can't carry it no more.
Or you'll get a heart attack, or you'll get a stroke, or something else is going to burst in your organism, in your system. And then you're going to realize that this is not the way it was supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
When you have your pipes in the house clogged, are you going to call someone to fix it, or are you just going to keep pushing the water down the drain?
No, you gotta get fixed. You gotta get that
There
fixed.
we go. So why people don't fix themselves? Because they haven't been taught to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you
But
know,
we have,
you it's so easy. It's so easy to stay in the programming, even if you know that it doesn't feel good, because it feels like safety. I feel safe here, even though it's not good for me. I feel safe. I feel safe in my because it's familiar. I know it's not right. I know it's not right. I know that, and when I say right, I don't mean in terms of the rules that were set before you placed in by somebody else. When I say right, I mean your internal compass knows what's right and wrong for you, right? You know when something is right for you. But because I'm so used to this, right? You see a lot of people with the, let's say, spanking their children,
mm-hmm.
right? It's been programmed for some people. Hey, I got it, so why they don't get it? You know what I'm saying? Now some people, now this is to each its own. Everybody chooses, however or whatever. But it's like, okay, but what does this look like? Because where there's no image, there's confusion, right? And so if I don't have an image of what that looks like, then I don't have an image or a blueprint to follow. And so in my mind, I'm doing everything right. And this happens to be the case with a lot of parents. Like, I didn't realize how great of a parent my mom was until I moved out and lived on my own. And then there was a situation where I was living with a man, and I was like, wow, it was just things on automatic, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I was watching myself have certain behaviors on automatic, and I was like, damn, I'm good at this. I didn't know I knew none of this stuff. But it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I think when we can become the observers of ourselves and kind of like step outside of that, right? And but also I think it's important in observation to also step into ourselves and to experience it fully, to
Oh
experience
yeah.
that rage,
Oh
to
yeah.
experience that anger, and to let that out, and to hopefully have somebody who's understanding, um, they can do their thing. So,
That's where I'll just touch this very mildly. That's how depression is created.
mm,
You press it inward, right?
mm-hmm,
You have to be releasing the things that you don't want to hold on to.
mm-hmm. I like that. Can we
You
talk?
can't keep you can't keep blowing your balloon till forever because it has its own limits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you keep pressing everything inwards yourself? You have a limit too.
Yeah.
Okay, we are spiritual beings in a human body having human experience, but this body has its own capacity, right?
Mm-hmm.
The nervous system has its own capacity as well. So same as you're cleaning things that you're using, you need to clean out yourself too, out of the baggage that you don't need.
Absolutely. And how do you, now we talked about the depression, we talked about what we don't need. Now, what are some healthy, productive, motivational, as in movement in action? What kind of positive actions can we take to have those healthy kind of releases?
Any movement, any action, everybody likes something else, right? You have to try. How would you know what you like? You have to try it first. Try walking, try running, try to go on a bicycle or into gym or swimming or hiking or, I don't know, singing. The important thing is to change your vibration and start generating the energy, because you don't get energy. You release energy. The energy is created within you. So you have to create some action for the energy to be released, right?
Yeah, wait a minute now, Joe. I gotta stop you now. I gotta stop you now. You,
I'll have an example. Do you know this
yeah,
singing bowl?
the singing
Do
bowl.
you do you hear any sound?
No.
Okay, but when you hit the singing bowl, sound is there.
Mm-hmm.
It was created with action, with movement.
Right.
So same thing with you.
I love that. Now you said something very important, and I can't let you slide it by. You said
Yeah,
generate energy.
yeah,
Now we listen to a lot of people say energy is not created nor destroyed; it's only transformed. And
yeah.
and generation is part of that. So what does generating energy? When you say generating energy, what do you mean?
When you have a car, how does a car generate energy? How does a car get moving?
The gas.
Yeah, gas or the petrol or electric cars, electricity, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
no one is picking on us, right?
Right, right. You're right.
So you'll input fuel into the car. You'll turn on the engine, it starts generating energy, and it keeps moving. Now we have food, a source of energy, but we have a cosmic energy, right? There's the things that we don't see. You feed your body and you feed your mind. And then you have to do movement. You have to make an action. You have to change your state of being to release energy. Your arm is not hanging just like this and waiting until you're going to plug it into electricity, but your body is going to send a signal into your brain to move the arm because you want to take something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is running on a subconscious level, automatic at the moment. We've learned that since we were born.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How does dancer release the energy? Starts moving.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to move. And that is so big for those who are experiencing depression, those who are experiencing anxiety, those who are experiencing all of these kind of emotional setbacks or challenge. I don't even call them setbacks. Let's call them challenges and opportunities of growth. When you're experiencing it, sometimes the first thing you want to do, you want to lay in bed. You don't want to get out of bed that day. You don't want to do that. But one thing, even from experience, it's like Joe is saying, generating that energy, because when you're generating the energy, that means the energy is not, you got to create it. You have to, it's not created or destroyed, but it is transformed. You have to transform and get in process of transforming that negative energy that you have, that energy that's depressing you, that energy that is holding you down, that anger inwards that you're experiencing. You have to generate a new energy, and that's you stepping outside. Like he said, you have to change your vibration, change your environment, right? Like you said, the environment makes a huge impact. So when you change that environment, when you're in the house with the lights turned off, when you go outside in this daytime, you don't get to turn off the lights. So you're
Yeah.
receiving that energy. You're receiving the winds and the blowing of the trees. You're receiving that butterfly that goes. Who can be mad at a butterfly that flies past you? You know, who can be mad at when you watch a bird soaring in the sky? Observe the environment around you, and take a walk, put your feet in the grass, wiggle your toes, take your funky shoes off and wiggle your toes outside of your socks, you know. Ground yourself, literally ground yourself, because it's easy to stay stuck. It's easy to stay stuck in that hole. And here's the thing too that I learned: the more that you understand it, the more challenging it becomes. And like Joe said earlier, sometimes you go through things to teach other people things, which means you have to sometimes allow yourself to go there. See, because I was one of those people where I never allowed myself to go there. But what happened with me was, once I allowed myself to go there, I became more relatable to other people, because
Mhm.
other people weren't up. Now, I want to say up, I'm talking about on vibration, right? A lot of people weren't happy. So if I'm expressing feelings of happiness and somebody's all the way depressed, sometimes they need to hear that story of your depression when they see you happy. Because a lot of the time we might show a picture of us. Look at how beautiful this smile is. And
Yeah, and social media for that is a great example of showing only smiley face. But life isn't always about happy moments or smiley faces. This is the stuff that we need to talk about for people to see that the real life is somewhere else. Yeah, it's nice to see nice picture,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, when you turn off the phone or when you shut down your computer, you need the knowledge to know how to get out from the situation that you didn't desire to be in where you are.
Mhm.
And there, nice pictures doesn't help.
Mhm. Mhm. But hey, nice pictures. I mean, they look nice though.
You're not a picture.
Nice.
Of course, you look nice, but what I meant was the posts on social media.
Yeah.
I don't want to be talking about any platform specifically, but everything it looks so perfect,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Everything's symmetrical. Nothing hangs. Nothing. If you cry, you're a certain way. There's so much. I think that there's so much. The judgment that we place on other people is actually the judgment that we place on ourselves.
Now you hit it. Never judge anybody else because it's going to come back to you faster than you realize, and you have no idea what a person is going through, and you have no right to judge anybody because you don't know. When you realize how hard it is to change your own life, you'll stop judging people.
Woo! Listen, that is so humbling, because it's easy to learn this stuff and to think you. That's how you know the difference between, I believe, someone who is novice and somebody who's experienced. Those that judge others are usually in the novice stage, because it's easy for me to judge something that I'm looking towards at a book that says this is right or wrong. It's easy to judge, but when that experience kicks in and you're associated with certain things, it becomes difficult to judge a society. It becomes difficult to judge a person's experience. It becomes difficult to judge because you're not in the environment that that um, that subconsciously programs the experience of the circumstance that the person is in. We blame the flower. Do we blame the flower for dying? And I think that's a lot of the situation that I think, bearing witness to on the media is I'm blaming the rose for dying. I'm blaming the rose for dying in the wintertime. Ooh. I'm blaming the rose for its natural evolution and process.
Yeah. Yeah. How smart, huh?
What?
How smart, huh?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with judging. When you do inner work, when you do personal development for you, and when you start unpacking your own shit in your own life, and when you start cleaning and clearing your own mess, there won't be even a thought of judging somebody else, because you'll come to the realization and awareness how you have been thinking. What have you been saying? And then it becomes impossible to judge, because you can't judge something that you understand already. Mm-hmm. The only problem we have in this world is ignorance. Mm-hmm. Ignorance to the knowledge and ignorance to allowing other people to go through their own process.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, and catch this, because this is important to catch. Sometimes you can help so many people through their process, but you can't help the one who's closest to you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Sometimes you can literally say the same thing, right? I'll take it. My mom raising me. There's certain things that she said to me my whole life. But it wasn't until I heard it from my therapist that I heard it the way that I needed to hear it. And when I heard it from her, and then I asked myself, well, how come when I heard it from it, but then over here I heard it and then it hit me. Sometimes, and you have to be okay, don't let your pride get in the way. You have to be okay with allowing and embracing that everybody has a certain path and a certain journey that certain people are assigned to walk them through. And it might, in certain circumstances, it might not be you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, there's going to be certain paths. I learned in my life, now that I'm older, there's certain things that my mom can walk me through that my dad can't necessarily walk me through. But there's certain things that my dad walks me through. And I'm like, holy shit. You solved my months and months of torture, self-hypnosis, negative self-hypnosis,
Ignorance
in 5 seconds through one story, one thing. And it's so important because it's like, dang, okay. And it's like, but that's something that maybe mom couldn't give you. You only heard it when dad gave it to you. Your awareness was only there when dad gave it to you. Or there's certain things only mom, or neither one of them could give it to you when you heard it from your coach, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's important to analyze the people around you, because that is your support. Like you said, you only had less, right? There's so many other speakers. There's Tony Robbins. There's Michael.
They were that was my beginnings of realizing that there is a self-development industry, because English is not my first language. And in year 2005-4, I went to Japan, then to Ireland. So I started learning English slowly. But to be able to read Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within, you don't need just the beginning of English. You need really good English to understand what he means. Mm-hmm. Even after, 20 some years of English, I still have some words and sentences that I don't understand, right?
Me too.
But you have to see, and you're a native speaker. But in saying that, I agree. You will hear and accept the message from certain person. You can have 10 people standing in front of you and be telling you the same thing, but you'll hear only from one. Why is it that way? I don't know. The important thing is that we heard the message that was supposed to come true to us, right? With parents, we have to understand they have done the best they could with what they had. And I'll repeat Maya Angelou as well. When you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
If they would know better, they would have done better.
And sometimes it's not, and I think sometimes it's easy for us to hear that statement and then look at the other person and say, oh, if I knew better, I could do better. But sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's the mistakes that you make, right? The mistake that I made within myself, because guess what? When I transform myself inside, I show up as a different person to this other person now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've worked on me.
When you start owning your own shit,
Mm-hmm.
that's where and when real transformation begins.
When you start flushing your own toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the time we take a dump and we want other people to come in the bathroom and flush our toilets, and other people are
Yeah.
like, I'm not flushing your shit. At least that should be the reaction. Like, could you imagine somebody being like, hey, ooh, I let a big one out, and then they ask you, hey, come in this bathroom and flush the toilet. And you're like,
We have a comment from NC Baker. You cannot change others. Absolutely. No, you can't. The only person you can change is you, and through hard work. When your environment will see changed version of you, they have option and free will to change themselves.
mm-hmm.
Narcissists, no, you can't do anything with narcissists. Just go away.
You know,
No, because he will drag you to his environment and he will drown you there because he's there at home. No.
yeah. There's some self-aware narcissists. There's this one guy on the tick of the on one of these social media platforms, but he talks about being diagnosed as a narcissist, and him going through therapy, he shows his journey, but then he also helps other people identify who's a narcissist, who's not. And sometimes it could be us. You know, there's certain qualities that we all have. We all have scenes of schizophrenia. We all have scenes of anxiety. We all have scenes of depression. We all have scenes of narcissism, our own self-righteous narcissism. We all have scenes of these different things and these different tags that it's easy to just point, right? But we have those within ourselves too. We just have a better balance, right? Bipolarism, we all have a sense of that. It's just we have a better balance of handling those things, whereas someone else may have that kind of challenge in their lives, and they need extra assistance with it.
Yeah, and there are specialized people that are able to help with specific diagnosis, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why they go to med school for I don't know how many years to study that and study mainly these kind of things. They're professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but then there is important to realize that point in that stage that someone needs professional help from medical point of view, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's time.
Absolutely. Maturity means learning to have a self-control. Yes. And part of maturity, self-awareness, self-work as well, is realization that you don't have to be going to people's faces proving your point, because you're doing the work for you, not for anybody else. And as it was mentioned in here before, that you cannot change people. No, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You change yourself. When people see changed behavior compared to your older version, they'll have two choices. They can adapt with you, or your ways are going to be separated.
Yeah. And
if you take your childhood friends, your junior high school friends, your university friends, your co-workers from first, second, third job, they're not all of them are in your life anymore.
Right.
People come and go. Not every single one of them is here in our life to stay for the whole entire life.
Mm-hmm. That's why that partnership, that those friendships are so important.
Yeah.
Realize, because I think for me, I used to have this laundry list of what is this ideal mate, right? And then I was like, scratch all that. Can we grow together? That's the number one. Can we grow together? Can I see you in your darkness, in your darkest space, and handle you and be able to not judge you for that? Can you handle me
Yeah.
in my dark side? Can I be at negative 100%? And
Absolutely.
you at 20% and you still try to bring me up to that 20%. You still try to, and vice versa. And I still try, can we grow together? Because then what happens is these people are looking at 200%. And even to them, it may look like 1,000%, but it's understanding like we've spent this time growing, learning, cultivating, doing this thing. It is, every relationship is work. Is
Yeah.
work. The relationship
Absolutely.
itself is work. Like, I just thought of an exercise. If I was in a relationship where I was living with a man, with my husband, right? Every morning it's gonna be a requirement. I just made this up. I hope he agrees. But every morning I want there to be a requirement. We literally have a self meter. And we wake up and judge ourselves. And in our self meter, when we wake up, I'm saying if I woke up on 20, there's a visualization. So my partner's aware, oh shit, she on 20 today. Well, I feel like I'm on 80 or 100% today, but just to
Yeah.
understand, well, guess what? Maybe she needs some time with herself today. Maybe she needs some, but having those self check-ins for self, but also making that visible for that other person to be able to see, like, do you need me there or do you need you there today? Because I'm going to let you have your moment. Because sometimes it's so easy to get intertwined and you lose yourself trying to satisfy the other person losing themselves trying to satisfy you. And then you eventually lose, you're both forming an image that you think each other wants, but you lost your own self and your own image in it.
When you're going to bed tonight and you set intention for your subconscious mind out of gratitude for the day that you just had,
Mm-hmm.
for the person you had in the day, every person, every situation. When you are grateful, instead of looking for something that is wrong, you're going to see more stuff that you can be grateful for. When you wake up tomorrow morning and first thing that you say and think of is thank you, just to the space, to God, to whoever you believe, thank you that you have woken up and you have another chance to be here. It will start changing your mind, your mindset. When you start looking um, for things to be grateful right away from the morning, it will start rewiring your mind,
Mm-hmm.
your way how you function, right? And if in a relationship people decide to go through a self-development journey together, I mean both of them for him and herself, these things that we are used to from old way of thinking will start to fade away and disappear, because what you focus on, where attention goes, energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
You, the ultimate goal that I see for myself in a relationship is when I see an old couple that are 70, 80 or 90 and they're holding and supporting each other throughout the life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they didn't have shitstorms in their life? Of course they had, but they were there for themselves.
I love that. Shit storm.
Yeah, have to be proactive. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah. But we see,
My queen, we are nearly only almost 2 hours. It's 2 a.m. in my part of the world. Um,
and
do
you
you want to close this live with something? I'll leave this show on to you.
oh,
Absolutely.
you want me to close the live with something? Oh, actually, okay. I'm gonna close the live with something. So I have a book, right? And this is a mantra that I said to myself whenever I get anxiety. And it's called "My Thoughts Are Dangerous." So it says, I guess my professor was right. My thoughts are, so just backstory. So when I was in college, when I was in university, I expressed some radical thoughts, so to speak. I said that I believed that certain people were just placed in position to lead people astray. Okay. And when I made that statement, that very bold statement, my professor told me to be quiet because my thoughts were dangerous. And so I was like, I went like from my college years into adulthood, I was like, why did he say my thoughts were dangerous? So this is the result. Even called the book "My Thoughts Are Dangerous," right? So I said, I guess my professor was right. My thoughts are dangerous to those who seek to conceal and not heal. My thoughts are dangerous to those who seek to win an argument instead of resolving issues in a timely manner. My thoughts are dangerous to those who've silenced the female intellect and disregarded the voice of the ethical moral man who bore forth you into this realm called life. My thoughts are dangerous to those who fear unfurling enlightenment from an enchanted soul trapped in a body with a voice. My thoughts are dangerous to those who use suppression and oppression as means to sustain, maintain, and attain fear to win over influence. My thoughts are safe and timeless. So mote it be.
Amen.
Amen. Get out of that trance. Get out of that trance. The negativity is ugly. And y'all, while I'm talking to myself because I was crying for like 4 to 6 hours today. Get out of it. You can have all that knowledge all day, but if you're not applying that knowledge, it doesn't matter. And sometimes it takes friends like this to make you
Absolutely.
even analyze yourself and to have certain conversations that propel you forward into, oh, I know this. I don't know why I was even in that trance, but guess what? Sometimes sometimes when you're in that trance, you're really in that hole. It's like being stuck in a cave with no help. But when your friends are like that hand that come down in the hole that are ready to pull you up, like, hey, how you get down there? And sometimes your friends don't even know you're down there. And they like, la da da da, like they see your body and then shoot, here you come back up. So keep a good circle and be conscious of your friends and watch your media. If you're watching a bunch of stuff with drama that's not helping you grow, that's making you get argumentative, that's making and it's not productive to your growth or your goal, silence it.
Where your attention goes, energy flows. So first thing that you have to do, in my opinion, is to turn off constantly negative news, as Les Brown is saying. Stop watching news because there's nothing good in it. And pick what your mind is going to focus on. If it's planting flowers in a garden, do that if it makes you happy. Mm-hmm. If it's listening to someone that is going to give you inspiration or motivation, do that. If it's music, do that. Do something that will lift your vibration into higher state. What does that mean? Do what makes you happy.
Amen.
I don't think that news in any television in any country in the world is making somebody happy.
Amen. Amen.
And about the information and that you have to do the work, I'll close this live with saying from Les Brown, if information on its own would be enough, people that works in a library would be skinny, rich, and happy, and the most successful people in the world. They're not, because they're not using the information. So get your butt out of the chair and do something. Thank you for watching us, guys. Khadijah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye for now.